Hello and welcome to the Dirtball of the Decade Award ceremony. This is the most prestigious award given to the ultimate dirtball of the last years. That's right. This man likes to give out an award each week for Dirtball of the Week. This man is none other than Jeran Campanella. You know him as Jeranism. So being he likes to give out an award for Dirtball of the Week, we're going to do him one better because, let's face it, he deserves this honor. Tonight, I will be presenting the very prestigious Dirtball of the Decade Award to none other than Mr. Jeran Campanella himself. It's going to be some exciting stuff, you guys. But I'm sure you guys are wondering, like, what did he do to deserve such a prestigious award? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the stuff that Jeran did to earn this distinctive honor of Dirtball of the Decade. All right. So, you guys ready to get started? Rose says, what has he done? Oh, well, I've talked about it in the past. I just want to go over some things and show some old video clips. You know, Jeran is considered the most famous, well-known flat earther who then flip-flopped and went back to a globe. You know, that's like what he's famous for. And so I want to point out that long before he did that, I was telling people that he was going to do that. And if we go back all the way back to 2017, I was calling this guy out, as well as his colleagues, Mark Sargent, Patricia Steer, Robbie Davidson, even Eric Dubé. Yes, I said that, even him. And the big-time boss, Dave Weiss. And now we have Jeran throwing his boss under the bus. Have you guys seen that? Jeran now saying Dave Weiss is a scammer and that his app is leaking people's data. Jeran is now telling people to get rid of Dave Weiss's app. Delete Dave Weiss's app. Can you believe that? I remember telling people to delete Dave Weiss's app, you know, like 3 years ago. Jeran didn't care back then. He didn't care about anyone's info back then. But after he 69'd with Will Duffy for 24 straight hours in Antarctica, now he cares about people's data. Oh, it's going to be a good time. Going to be a good time tonight. Oh, here we go. And this is going to be a flat earth stream through and through. We're going to be talking about a lot of flat earth shills and shitbags tonight. If this isn't your subject, if you don't know any of these characters, you can stay and learn. But if you don't know, you might get a little confused. But for those who were around for many years following my channel, man, you guys are going to get to go back and relearn some flat earth history. And I'm going to tie it all together with what's currently going on now. It's going to be great. All right. Silly Senpai says, I went to Flattoberfest a couple of years ago, and my girlfriend and I exchanged numbers with Jeran, and he wouldn't stop sending her dick pics. So we were like, all right, let's romance scam, but he's cheap. Dick pics. So we were like, all right, let's romance scam. I don't know what that means. But yes, Jeran has been known to send dick pics to random people, females and males. And he likes to brag about the size of his unit. And he likes to think it's like a really big deal that everyone cares about. And we're going to get to all that later. I'm going to play the video where he wanted to measure my manhood. Yeah, got that on video. Did you guys know Jeran wanted to measure my manhood, as in my penis. Yes, we're going to get to that. I'm going to show a clip from when Jeran's giant penis wasn't enough for his wife, and his wife cheated on him, you guys. Yes, Jeran admitted his wife cheated on him. His big dick just wasn't enough for her, apparently. We're going to get to all that fun stuff, but there's stuff that matters even more, some really, truly shilly shit that we're going to get to tonight. It's going to get a little bit dark and depressing in some ways. But, you know, the last few streams I did, those were fun. I did a lot of fun, you know, impressions, made you guys laugh. Tonight's going to be a little more serious. That's why I didn't wear the hat tonight. Because tonight's going to be mostly serious shit. Because, for real, the Earth not being a globe, kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal still. And the government went as far as to hire actors to dupe anyone who figures out that the Earth isn't a globe, so that you listen to and follow government agents who are going to lead you astray and who have led you astray. Meanwhile, the real dude who figured out the Earth wasn't a globe and warned people about these shills many, many years ago, well, I've been vindicated. But sometimes people need to be reminded of what I have been vindicated about. So tonight I'm going to remind everybody just how right I was. As the flat earth shills fall by the wayside, the true OG flat earth content creators are left standing. And it's looking like myself and Q and Fee are the true OGs still left standing, who didn't lead you astray, didn't lie to you. When we found new information, we changed what we thought and said. As these shills flip-flop back to the globe, not only am I left saying I told you so, I'm left standing as one of the OG, true OGs of this content. Coming in with the first super chat of the night. And even though tonight's going to be serious, feel free to come at me with any sort of questions or whatever you want to ask me in your super chats. The floor is always open, no matter what you want to ask, whether it's related to this topic or not. If you want to send me a super chat, ask away whatever you want. Events and More with Chris G says, a big was up from Western Massachusetts. All right, since tonight's stream is going to be really serious and stuff in a lot of parts, and some might even find it to be maybe a bit dry, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little humor right now to hold you over through the rest of the stream. I'm going to give you one of my classic was-ups. And nobody does a was-up like I do a was-up. So with that said, was up. There you go. Little was up action. Had to do something funny, right, before we get into all the serious shillbaggery. We're going to get into some actual, no joke, serious stuff, you know, like flat earth shills backing a child toucher. You know, a convicted chomo. Yeah. Did you know that Dave Weiss and Jeran basically backed a chomo for years? They don't call him out, even though he's a convicted known chomo. They just give him a platform to speak. Imagine that. Yeah, you might be wondering who I'm talking about. Well, we'll get to it. All right. Wood Floor Alchemist says, Karen has been using the AE map knowing it was wrong and then flipped overnight, and Dave is still using it for his app. Here's the thing. The map itself, not so bad. It's the sky model that they've had wrong the whole time. So the sun's path, basically, the one circling sun, that's wrong. So if you get rid of that, ditch that, and then you plug in the observable data for each observer, now we're in business. Hey, you know who did that? Me. I did that. I fixed that mapping model. Fixed all of its fatal flaws. You don't hear any of those flat earth leaders talking about how Jake the asshole fixed the map. Yeah, fixed it so good that the shills have left it alone. Don't want to even talk about it. I explained the 24-hour sun, southern star trails. I get all of the sunrise and sunset angles correct. Yeah, all I had to do was ditch that one circling sun and give each observer their own luminaries locally. That's it. Now, some people are going to say, everyone sees their own luminaries? Yes, that's what's happening. And that's a big reason why the shills have led everyone astray, is they don't want you to figure out that this place is far more magical and amazing than they told us. There's some extraordinary shit that happens in the sky, and they've tried to explain it away with both fake models, the globe model and that bullshit one singular sun model between the tropics. Both of them wrong. And I pointed it out a long ass time ago. So without further ado, let me show you how long ago I pointed it out. Some of you guys are going to know exactly what this is. The End of the Fake Flat Earth, published October 25th, 2017. 109,000 views. This one caught some traction. Everyone in the cult community at the time saw this video. I pointed out that the circling sun path, the daylight hours, all that stuff with the circling sun over the AE map, pointed out it was wrong. Not only did I point out it was wrong, I showed actual examples and straight up proved it was wrong. And you guys, one more time, this is 2017. You can see the date on the screen right there. Y'all can go back and check this out for yourselves. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's really long, but I am going to play some very important clips.
Is the truth really right there in plain sight? Or were we sold a false model yet again by snake oil salesmen such as Eric Dubé, Matt Boylan, Mark Sargent, and Jeranism?
So there you go, calling out all these shill bags back in 2017 right away at the beginning of the video. There's Jeranism on screen. So here's proof of me in 2017 calling this guy a snake oil salesman.
These were the first four guys to come along and wave the blue frisbee in our face.
Now that map was around before those guys, but I want to clarify that those were like the first guys to come along calling themselves flat earthers, all using the exact same model. All of them using the circle sun path between the tropics over the AE map. All right. And then 324. This is a very important part right here.
Sunrise and sunset angles absolutely prove that the sun does not go in a circle around an AE map or any other circular map. If you go to suncalc.net, you can actually find out where the sun is going to rise and where the sun is going to set. And apparently in the southern hemisphere, such as Australia, they're seeing the sun rise from the southeast and set in the southwest. Even in South Africa, they're seeing the sun set in the southwest. In South America, they're seeing the sun set in the southwest.
Okay, so when you would go to websites like SunCalc during the winter months, fall months and winter months, you would see that the sunrise and sunset angles south of the Tropic of Capricorn, down at the bottom of the map, that those angles weren't matching the circling sun path. And so like right here, you're seeing the sun rise out of the southeast, set to the southwest, and that wasn't matching that singular circling sun path. And so I wanted to make sure that what this website was saying was correct. So I asked some of my subscribers who lived south of the Tropic of Capricorn in Australia and Tasmania to point a compass at the sun when it was setting and see if it was setting towards the south. And indeed it was, which proved the SunCalc website was telling the truth, which proved guys like Jeran, Eric Dubé, Mark Sargent, David Weiss, that they were wrong. And so before I came out and called them shills, I let Jeran know about this information right here on screen. And he said, don't talk about it. Globebusters is going to cover that in an upcoming episode. So Jeran told me not to talk about it. And that's when I knew that they were shills. And that's when I knew I had to put this information out there. Because he didn't come out and tell people that the AE map with the circling sun is wrong on Globebusters that next week. No, you know what he did? He makes excuses. So when I told Jeran about this, he's like, oh, well, that could be like, you know, reflection, refraction combined together to make reflection. And like, it's like a toroidal field and a bundt cake pan and a coffee cup caustic. He would start making up all sorts of excuses. And I'm like, well, I have some of my subs who are going to point their compass at the sun, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this one way or the other. And I did.
Now, no matter where you drag the cursor around in the southern hemisphere at this time of year in October, the sun is setting to the southwest. That's a problem for the AE map because that's the opposite direction than the supposed circling sun. If people in the southern hemisphere are seeing the sun set to the southwest, that is in the entirely opposite direction than the supposed circling sun.
So if you have a circle sun path like right here in the middle, people in Australia were seeing the sun come up from the southeast, go up over the top of them, and then set to the southwest. So basically the sun was coming up from Antarctica and setting towards Antarctica, which is the opposite direction of that circling sun. Now, I made this graphic with my finger on my phone in an app called UDoodle. I took the AE map and I drew that circle. That's why it's so imperfect looking. I made this graphic to explain how it doesn't match that circle sun path. And I made it as easy to understand as I possibly could. And RV, Russian Vids, tells people I stole this from a Glober. So they lie about the information that I presented and tried to make it out like I stole Globe information or something. No. I actually had real people do real observations. I didn't just show a website. I didn't just show a graphic.
So this is a glaring hole in the AE.
Before I forget, thank you, Angelo Zapp, for the donation. No message attached, but a donation. And then Wood Floor Alchemist says, have you looked at Melodome's sunspot footage? No, I haven't. And I don't give a fuck about sunspot footage because that doesn't make the earth round or flat or anything. So I don't give a shit about his supposed sunspot footage at all. It really is irrelevant in this argument. Thank you for the donation.
Map and model. Now, I didn't just take SunCalc net's word for it. I actually asked some friends in Australia and further south to help me run some experiments. And here's what we came up with.
Hey guys, this is Alex. Okay, I'm in Warburton, which is in just east of Melbourne, about an hour east of Melbourne, in Australia. We're about, what are we? 37 degrees latitude south, sunset. Today's the 15th of.
Got a super chat from An1 Baller, says, I didn't know you sang and had women kiss you. Yeah, I was in a cover band for, I don't know, like 6 years. And I was also in an originals band. And yeah, I've played many shows. And then I also sang in nursing homes and would have the old ladies go crazy for me too. So yes, I've had the young ladies going crazy for me, and I've had the old ladies going crazy for me. You know, you might not believe it when I sit here and tell you about these shill bags, but yes, there was a time where I was rocking stages and had some hot babes dancing all over me. Good times, better times. Okay, so this is a guy in Australia, the southern part of Australia, pointing his compass at the sun as it sets. And he's going to show you it's setting towards the south.
October 2017. And I thought you might be interested in seeing this. So here I've got a compass pointing directly at the sun. And it's showing that the sun is currently going down at about 249 degrees west. Now, if you know anything about the cardinal directions, you'll know that the sun only goes down in the summer here in the southern hemisphere as far as the tropic of, the tropic of Capricorn. The sun shouldn't be down past due west.
So anything below west is going to be south of west. Anything south of west is coming up from the direction of the ice wall, Antarctica, which ain't the same direction as the supposed circling sun. It's very basic stuff. And that wasn't the only observation. I also had this guy in Tasmania, farther south. This guy's quite a bit farther south. Devonport, Tasmania.
2017, Devonport, Tasmania. Currently watching the sun starting to set right now.
Here's the thing. This next guy uses a non-digital compass. So this guy uses I'll show you. So not both guys used the phone compass. And this one right here matched the data from SunCalc like dead on.
My last field of view. It is currently now setting. I'm not sure if you can see that out correctly or not.
Oh,
there we go. You have to forgive me, I'm using the sun filter. There we go, 260 degrees, just south of west.
there it is. So he's got here's a big W, and then it's south of west. And this was in October. So what happens is this sunset angle gets further and further to the south into November and then December. And that's the furthest south it gets is when you get into December. So this was in October. And then the next month, the angles were even more to the south. So that's when I realized that the information coming out of SunCalc is right. So anything below west is south of west in any sort of southern reading is the opposite direction of the supposed circling sun. See what I'm saying? The sun's going around between these tropics. It should never be coming from the ice wall or heading towards the ice wall. So I basically showed not just the computer graphics on sun calc, right? But I also showed the observations from a dude in Tasmania and Australia. So basically, I proved that the singular circling sun path wasn't correct. And so did Jeran say, you guys, I hate to admit it, but flat earth asshole's right. No, he didn't. He didn't admit that I was right. You know what he did do? He said that I'm too stupid to know how the flat earth model works. And I just don't understand refraction and reflections off the dome and coffee cup caustics and toroidal fields and bundt cake pan earths. I'm too dumb to understand. He said I got cucked out by a glober, and then he told his audience that I was going back to the globe. This was in 2017 when I proved that circling sun path with one sun between the tropics ain't right. Showed it to him. Not just him, all his shill buddies saw that same video. Eric Dubé, he saw it. Mark Sargent saw it. They all saw that video. They all know that circling sun path got destroyed. None of them said, hey, Jake's right. We need to fix that. Or we need to, it has to be something else. It doesn't mean that the Earth's a globe, that those sunrise and sunset angles don't match. It just means that one circle sun path in between the tropics was wrong. Right? So I never said, hey, it must be a globe because of these sunrise angles. No, what happens in the sky doesn't determine the shape of the ground. We all know that. Jeran used to say that. But now Jeran says what happens in the sky does determine the shape of the ground. Now, ever since Jeran went and hung out with Will Duffy and saw a 24-hour sun, now he claims for sure it's a globe because he saw that in the sky. But when I gave him proof back in 2017 that the shit he was saying was wrong, he made up excuses for years. And so did all his fucking shill buddies, including the mystical Eric Dubé. Him too. In fact, Eric Dubé dressed up and imitated me so that everyone would laugh at me and not pay attention to the fact that the guy in Davenport, Tasmania with the compass in his hand destroyed the fuck out of that circling sun path. So only the really smart flat earthers who followed me understood and were like, oh shit, yeah, that is wrong. Jake's right. The rest of them who were dumb fuck cult followers, they were like, Jake's divisive. So that must mean Jake's a shill. Jake is dividing the flat earth cult community by showing this. He's making us look bad. So let's shun him. And they shunned me, pushed me out of their cult community, disowned me from their fucking cult for showing them the truth. And then all these years later, when Jeran goes to Antarctica, sees the 24-hour sun, and then flips and becomes a glober. Ooh, I still remember all that shit that happened to me. I can still tell the story. I can still put it all together. I can still show who told who first and when. So, let the record show, 2017, I called Jeran a shill and proved the shit he was pushing about the flat earth model that he was pushing with one circling sun between the tropics was wrong. Proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt. He just made excuses, shrugged it off for years. Next thing, I also predicted that Jeran was going to flip-flop to a globe. I predicted it basically before anybody that Jeran was going to flip-flop to a globe. I'm going to show you that right now. So there's other people out there, you know, Nacha Queefer and Zetetic Princess Warrior trying to act like they were the ones who warned you about Jeran. Yeah, not before me. I warned everyone about Jeran. I'm the one who has all the ammo and all the receipts. There we go. One second. Got to retrieve a video.
Model. No, it.
All right. Check it out, y'all. This is from 7 months ago, August 5th. And I even talked about it before this, but this is a good clip that I showed.
With that, and which is, if you see a clear sun, you know, circling around, and we know, and it wasn't faked, you made it sound like you're going to say the Earth is a globe.
I'm going to say that the Earth cannot be flat.
And that brings us back to these two scumbags, Jeranism and David Weiss. So in this clip, Dave Weiss is calling into Jeranism's show, and they're both pretending to have a bit of an argument over whether or not the final experiment will falsify the flat Earth model if they see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And so Jeran is supposed to go to Antarctica for Will Duffy's final experiment. And if he sees a 24-hour circling sun in Antarctica, he's going to come back and say that the Earth cannot be flat.
Right, there it is. Plain as day. I pointed it out that was what Jeran was going to do. Showed the clip of him basically saying it. I mean, the dude made it pretty obvious.
Golf has always been so expensive.
Shit. Let me play it. I was going to play the clip again. Here it is.
Circling around, and we know, and it wasn't faked, you made it sound like you're going to say the Earth is a globe.
I'm going to say that the Earth cannot be flat. I'm going to say that the Earth cannot be flat.
I'm going to say that the Earth cannot be flat.
See, so he made it more than obvious that he was going to flip. And then at the time, Dave was doing his rounds on Roseanne and Alex Jones' show, right? And then this Duffy character came out of nowhere, and he's going to pick Jeran, of all people, to go to Antarctica. I was all over this from the beginning. Called it out the second I put it together. Got every bit of it right. Every little piece of this shit I nailed.
Experiment. And if he sees a 24-hour circling sun in Antarctica, he's going to come back and say that the Earth cannot be flat. His words. Now, Dave Weiss is going to say that that wouldn't falsify the flat Earth model.
Check it out, just in case any of you guys don't know these characters. This is Dave Weiss. This is Jeran's boss and handler. Right now, Jeran is pretending to be feuding with Dave Weiss. Dave Weiss has been hawking this tracking app, which tracks your location and steals your data. And it has a data breach leak so other people can steal your data. And so Dave has gone on Alex Jones' show to hawk his app. Dave's been hawking this app for years. You guys, Dave is a millionaire who lives in a mansion in a neighborhood where the average home costs over $2 million. He lives in Greenwich, Connecticut. if you know anything about Greenwich, Connecticut, that's where a bunch of wealthy, elitist douchebag fucks live. No regular people have a home in Greenwich, Connecticut. So, this is Dave. This we know as Alex Jones, and this is Eddie. And they all got together and acted like a bunch of fucking doofuses while pushing this app, which steals your info, you guys.
But it would falsify their sky model.
I also want to point out Jeran did not call out Dave for this app until just recently. And Jeran never called out Dave for hawking this app here on Alex Jones' show. No, Jeran always praised Dave and helped Dave hawk his app. Now Jeran is saying you should get rid of Dave's app because it leaks data.
Now, I want to point out that Jeran and Dave Weiss have been pushing an incorrect, debunked, falsified sky model for like a decade, basically. And the circling sun was debunked by me back in 2017, and Q and Fee even before that, I think back in 2016. And so not only have flat earthers debunked this one circling sun nonsense, but a bunch of globe earthers have too. So the fact that Jeran and Dave Weiss and Eric Dubé and plenty of other fake flat earthers have made excuses for nearly a decade every time the circling sun got debunked. But now they're going to pretend like if Will Duffy has this experiment where they see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, well, then that falsifies the whole flat Earth model. No, it doesn't mean that the Earth is a globe, but it does falsify that circling sun. Absolutely. You can't have a circling sun over the AE map and have a circling sun going the opposite direction in Antarctica in December. That's impossible. So yes, it proves Eric Dubé wrong, it proves Jeran wrong, and it proves David Weiss wrong, it proves Mark Sargent wrong, Witsit Gets It wrong, Flat Earth Banjo wrong, D Marble, Bob Nodell. Yeah.
All the shills who pushed the one singular circling sun between the tropics, they got debunked. Not by Will Duffy's final experiment so much, but long before that, they got debunked by guys like me and Q and Fee, people who don't support the globe and who aren't government agents. So, this information was known, it was presented to them, and they fucking shrugged it off and they lied about it to cover it up. And then when Jeran went to Antarctica with Will Duffy, now suddenly he doesn't have any excuses anymore. And he wants to attack the model that he pushed for the last 10 years. It doesn't work like that, Jeran. You were told that your model that you pushed for 10 years was wrong. You can't now become a globe defender and start attacking that model you pushed for 10 years and expect someone like me not to fucking mention it.
All those guys who ever pushed a circling sun, yeah, those guys are all going to be proven wrong. All of them. You know who won't be proven wrong? Me! Because I stopped using the circling sun back in 2017 after I proved it wrong. It won't prove Q and Fee wrong because he doesn't use a circling sun either. So, I don't believe in a globe. I believe that the horizon is horizontal. I don't know what this realm is. I don't know what shape the Earth is. I couldn't tell you that. But what I can tell you is seeing the sun do a 360 in Antarctica does not mean that the Earth is a globe. It does not prove the Earth is flat or not flat. What it does do is prove one circling sun is incorrect. So, all the stuff that Eric Dubé pushed for a decade, yeah, that will be proven wrong. But it already...
Yeah, see, Eric conveniently just lets this slip past everyone and hopes that nobody notices, pretends like all his shit didn't get debunked. Yeah, all his circling sun shit between the tropics, his circling moon shit, circling stars shit, it was all wrong. Each observer sees their own celestials and sees their own independent angles to the celestials as represented on SunCalc. Eric Dubé ignored that, still ignores it, doesn't correct any of his shit, doesn't go live, doesn't answer questions to his audience, won't talk to his audience like this. So this guy's every bit part of the problem and every bit part of the shill team.
But he has been proven wrong. Jeran will be proven wrong, but he already has been proven wrong.
Yes, so I proved Jeran wrong a long time ago, and he lied about it for years and years and years and years and years. And then finally, after he 69s Will Duffy for 24 hours in Antarctica, gets cucked out by Will Duffy on Will Duffy's dime. Now he wants to be a staunch supporter of the globe and attack the people who supported him for 10 years. I say this guy is the dirtball of the decade, which is why tonight he is being presented with the Dirtball of the Decade award. Gone with the Wind coming in with a super sticker. Thank you very much, Gone with the Wind. I appreciate the super sticker. No message, but a sticker. I appreciate that. All right. So there I am telling you that Jeran was going to flip to the globe, showing you clips that he was even telling you out of his own mouth that he was going to flip to the globe. Now, just to show you how far me talking about this goes back before the final experiment, how I called out the final experiment before anyone else told you what was going to happen. All you got to do is go to my live stream list, right? Click on the live streams. Just scroll back. There it is. Go all the way back. The first time I talked about it, here we go. First time I talked about it was right here, 9 months ago. Space Wars, Final Flat Earth Experiment, World Stage News. This is where I brought it up for the first time. Told everyone about this new character, Will Duffy. This was before he even picked Jeran. So the first time I started covering this, and I called out Will Duffy from the beginning as a shill. Check this out, y'all. May 23rd, 2024. Back in May, y'all. So there I am with receipts to show. I was warning y'all about the final experiment back in fucking May. I'll even try and find a little clip. Here it is. See? Talking about this Will Duffy character. And I created a science fiction concept of a mini moon. So I have my receipts. When others are claiming that they warned people about Jeran, I got my receipts to show. I was warning people about this whole nonsense called the final experiment. The minute I heard about it, I was like, okay, next live stream, I'm talking about it. So once I heard about it, automatically I'm like, that's going to be a bunch of shill shit. If they actually go to Antarctica, that's going to be some shill shit for sure. All right. So far, 2017, I showed that I proved the circling sun popular flat earth model wrong. Told everyone in the cult community that these so-called leaders were fucking shills. It's a long time ago to be right all these years. And it takes so long to be fully vindicated. All right. What other proof do I got to show? Oh, yeah, Dave's app, y'all. So check it out. Jeran is currently attacking Dave for his app. And Jeran is saying that Dave's app is leaking data. Guess who warned you about Dave's app? You already know the answer. In fact, I made a specific video about Dave being a shill and his app. I specifically made a short video, and it didn't get that many views, but I did my part. Now, what took Jeran so long to warn people about this app stealing people's data? How come Jeran didn't give a shit? So check this out, y'all. December 4th, 2021. People were still wearing masks and shit back then, right? We were coming off the pandemic. 2021, here I am warning people about David Weiss and the app. Check it out. Here comes the receipt.
David Weiss loves to watch women get beaten, and he loves to crack jokes while women get beaten. Have a look.
All right, NFL, ex-NFL running back, I believe he last.
Okay, so here's where Jeran, Dave, Kelsey Kerwin, and Alex Stein on the Baby Truther show watched a clip of an NFL player beat a woman senseless while they all poked fun and laughed. I don't want this stream to get demonetized or taken down, so I'm going to skip through the part where the black guy beats up the little white woman. But basically, Alex Stein, he used to be Jeran's lackey. Before Alex Stein blew up, he was Jeran's sidekick lackey. And Dave and Jeran ran the Baby Truther show, which was an abomination. So check this out. Here's the important stuff.
Highly disturbing that anyone is still left following this man. I find it highly disturbing anyone would download his tracking app.
Our app just went next level. You're now able to find Flat Earth app users near you. See where they are and send them an instant message in the app. Instantly arrange for a Flat Earther meetup. When activated, blue dots mark the location of the app users near you. You have 3 choices on showing your location. PP, to pinpoint. This marks your exact location. CC, for city center, which will place you within a few miles of your current location. Or turn off, which removes you from the map altogether.
His Flat Earth tracking app, which is not only a debunked AE map, but it keeps track of flat earthers. You know, a little blue dot on the map so he can tell where you are and what you're doing. If you have ever downloaded any application by Mr. David Weiss deep inside the rabbit hole, I highly suggest you delete it and get rid of your phone as well.
Okay, so there I am. I'm on record with receipt in 2021 saying Dave Weiss is a shill. He's a bad guy. Get rid of his app. It's a tracking app. He can steal your info, sell your stolen info. People can get in the back door of the app and steal your info, right? So how come Jeran didn't tell people to get rid of this app back then? Because guess what? He knew that there was a data leak. Jeran found out that the app could be hacked. He knew more about it than me, but he never fucking told anyone to get rid of the app until last week. Just last week, he started telling people to get rid of the app. Or a couple days ago, excuse me.
But that is just some of my own personal advice. You don't have to take it. Do with that what you will. Now, I wish this was all that David does, but no, he also likes to stick up for sex offenders, convicted rapists.
This is Joshua Swift, who was a speaker at one of the Flat Earth International conferences. I think it was like maybe the second one or third one they did. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, so this guy right here, convicted child sex offender, right? Or sex offender, you know, with his offense being on a child. So this guy raped a 14-year-old girl. And he came out and told his story to Karen B and told about what he did. He admitted it. And they backed him, supported him, and then they victim shamed the 14-year-old girl and said it was her fault for lying about her age. And then they backed this guy and let him speak at their conferences. Not only that, this guy still shows up to Jeran's Speaker's Corner shows, and Jeran pretends like he doesn't even know who the guy is.
Such as Authentic Intent Joshua Swift. It seems that David Weiss thinks that a 35-year-old man graping a 14-year-old is perfectly acceptable. In fact, David Weiss shames the victim, a 14-year-old girl who was graped by a 35-year-old man, Joshua Swift, Authentic Intent.
So here's David Weiss on Facebook. That whole thing about Josh is pointless. The girl lied and said she was 18. As soon as he found out, you mean after their 6-month relationship? Okay, so David, what if the girl was 14? Actually, she was 14. What if the 14-year-old girl said, I'm 19, can you get me some cigarettes? And he did. And then Josh had a record. Would you say, oh, that's pointless, the girl lied? Now, this was the guy who was just on Alex Jones. And it looks to me like the cult has decided that if it has to, it will sacrifice a 14-year-old girl. And
that's Dave Weiss. There's Karen B on his lap. This is from the first or second conference. Some of these pictures still floating around out there. Yeah. Hey, Nacho Queefer and Zetetic Princess Warrior, you guys want to act like you're the sheriffs of the flat earth cult community now? Like you guys are like the de facto leaders now? Yeah, well, your shill busting sucks. It's pretty weak. Let me show you how a real OG truther, a real OG flat earth content creator busts the shills with some real ammo. Take notes, Nacho Queefer. Take notes, Zetetic Princess Warrior. A lot of these characters whom you were kissing ass, sucking up to just before the final experiment. Yeah, now when you're calling them shills, you look pretty weak. I was calling these people out a long time ago and providing proof and receipts the whole time. Where were ya? I guess you didn't know. Guess you didn't care back then. Huh.
it looks to me like the cult has decided that if it has to, it will sacrifice a 14-year-old girl to preserve its own integrity.
You can see David Weiss speaking at these conferences. You can see Jeran speaking at these conferences. You can see Mark Sargent speaking at these conferences.
If you look at the conferences, it's straight up a shill conference. All the speakers, straight up shills. A few of them might have been useful idiots, but mainly like 90% shills. Even the guy who put it on, Robbie Davidson, total shill bag. Oh, and he just flip-flopped back to the globe as well.
They couldn't find it within themselves to distance themselves from a child predator, so they welcomed with open arms a child predator known as Authentic Intent and gave him a spotlight at the 2018 Flat Earth Conference in Denver. So they all welcome a child predator in with open arms. So let's go over what we've learned today. David Weiss is a cult leader who has a tracking app to keep track of his cult. He loves to watch women get beaten and make jokes. Oh, and he also loves supporting and protecting convicted sex offenders.
I think I pretty much laid it out as directly and bluntly as I could put it. And I showed receipts too. I'm not just saying, oh, he's a shill. I'm showing like, look, here he is supporting a guy who raped a 14-year-old girl. They're putting the guy on the fucking conference and giving him a platform to speak. Victim shaming the girl. This is a bad, bad dude. He makes a lot of money. How many people you know hang out with Roseanne? How many people you know hang out with Alex Jones and get to promote their product while sitting next to Alex Jones? And that product just so happens to be an AE map with a circling sun in between the tropics. The thing that I fucking proved was wrong. That's what he makes millions of dollars on. That's what he's been fleecing the community with. Something that I proved was wrong. Oh, Jake, you're just jealous. That's what I was told, that I was jealous of him and his money, right? I even had Dave a few years back when I made this video gloat in my face in the comments section and say, sales are up, Jake. Sales are doing better. More people are downloading the app right now than ever before. So Dave, that fucking nasty, dirty shillbag that he was, would gloat in my face, basically. I'd be like, you guys, get rid of that app. It's a fucking tracking app that leaks your data. Oh, Jake, you're just jealous. I sold more apps than I've ever sold before. Keep talking about me, Jake. Yeah, now his supposed ex-best buddy Jeran is telling you to get rid of the app. How come Jeran didn't give a fuck back then? All right. Just to show you guys, now Jeran's the one telling Dave to get rid of his app. So this means Jeran's pretending that he's in a feud with Dave now. All right, here we go. So here's a clip from Jeran throwing Dave under the bus. But this is pretend. It's a pretend feud here.
And he just kept saying, oh, well, devs are looking at it. And the app. And the app is not safe. And this has been going on for 5 freaking months. Okay, so I went back in my phone. October 15th was the day I first messaged him. And it was about a week in a row that I kept messaging him multiple messages, asking if he needed my help. What can I do? And he just kept saying, oh, well, devs are looking at it. Oh, I got the A team looking at it. Oh, they just had only the top 100. Oh, it's been fixed. Oh, and then, it's just never been fixed. It's never been secure. So we're going to talk about that and show you.
So here's the title of Jeran's stream. Dave Weiss needs to shut down the app now. It has no security. Our data has been open for 5 months. So Jeran is saying in this stream, I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's 2 hours, right? And Jeran is incredibly boring. So Jeran basically says that he's known for quite a while now that this app has been leaking data. And he hasn't came out and mentioned it and told everybody, and he's kind of kept it under wraps. And now that he's pretending to be in a feud with Dave, that he's no longer in the Flat Earth cult unity, now he says Dave should shut the app down. Meanwhile, I was telling you to get rid of that app in 2021. Hey, Jeran, why didn't you fucking figure this out quicker? What took you so long? Were you too dumb? Were you too stupid? Or were you just negligent? Or did you really just not give a shit? Which was it, Jerry? All right. Got a super chat coming in from Shota Seb. Says, Jake, I literally watched all your videos. Funny thing is, I came across your channel in ODD's compilation. Thanks for entertaining us. You rule. Yet ODD, many years ago, he had a 24-hour stream where he would take other people's Flat Earth content and put it in his 24-hour feed. And since he had a 24-hour Flat Earth feed going with everyone's content, it would suck in a bunch of subs to his channel. So he kind of piggybacked off of everyone else's work. ODD is the original sex offender who got locked up and given a deal to work as a Flat Earth actor informant. So ODD was a sex offender who was working alongside with all these shills. And then he violated his probation. He got busted with a bunch of pills, and he is currently in prison. So if anybody's wondering where ODD is, he violated his probation and his whole deal was that he was supposed to work with Dave, being a fucking flat earth shill formant. And he was too busy getting high and twacked out that he didn't hold up his end of the bargain. So now he's in prison. That was another guy that when I called out originally, people told me I was wrong. People unsubscribed from my channel. People said I was being divisive. You know how many times I was told that I was the one who was wrong? I was the one who was the shill. I was the one who was divisive. Just for pointing out the truth. It doesn't happen so much now because now it's irrefutable. You'd be a dumb shit to be like, no, ODD was legit. He was totally too legit to quit, Jake. You're just jealous. Flathead Politics coming in with a donation. Thank you very much, bro. I appreciate that. And I think I saw your video a few nights ago when we were talking in the comment section. So Jeran has to somehow explain and make it make sense why 2 days ago he decided to tell Dave Weiss to shut down his app. Meanwhile, I was telling people about this exact same thing, that Dave Weiss, his tracking app is no good, since 2021. Even if the app wasn't a tracking app and wasn't stealing your info, the fact that it has a debunked model makes it a piece of shit app that nobody should have. When you add in the fact that it's a debunked model that is a tracking app that steals your info, leaks your info, oh, well, yeah, it's fucking god awful. And it's tied right back to a government shill shitbag. What a coincidence. So here's the proof of Jeran throwing his boss under the bus in controlled fashion. So don't fall for this whole like Jeran versus Dave Weiss bit. This is a bunch of fucking acting. All right, let me read a few comments, see what you guys have to say. Yeah, there was a time where not everyone, but a lot of people liked ODD's music, but if you really go back and listen, it's pretty stupid. His rhymes are very slow and basic. Mr. Backwards Hat Illuminati symbolism. It was pretty obvious. How can a shill be locked up? So here's the deal. Not all shills are on the same deal. So if you're a criminal, let's say you got busted in a giant Bitcoin scam, and then you work with authorities and you work out a deal where your sentence will get reduced, but you have to pretend to be a flat earther and do some earth shape shill formant work, where you pretend to be a flat earther and you do a weekly show, and then you flip-flop and go back to the globe and attack flat earthers. So imagine you do that job and they reduce your criminal sentence. Hey, you know who got busted in a giant Bitcoin scam? Jeran. Jeran got busted in a Bitcoin scam. Yeah. So guys like David Weiss, he is like a big-time boss handler type. And then a guy like Jeran, he's more like the informant, working with authorities, working with guys like David Weiss, who are basically like his boss / handler. And so Dave Weiss and Jeran were like best buds for years, right? And it was known. But now Jeran's going after Dave, going after his old shill buddies. But it's in controlled, scripted fashion. It's not real. All right. So now I can show you guys the clip where Jeran, out of his own mouth, admits that I was right. Gotta love it. Couldn't believe it when I heard it. But Jeran admitted on a stream recently, Jake the asshole was right. In fact, I wrote down the timestamp so that I could pull it up. Here we go. So here's Jeran's stream from 12 days ago.
Was Jake the asshole right? He was. Now, if there was evidence of the 24-hour sun, then I think I would have maybe listened a little better. But I said, okay, so it looks like it's setting that way. 24 guarded long ago. Was Jake the asshole right? He was. Now, if there was evidence of the 24-hour sun, then I think I would have maybe listened a little better. But now, if there was evidence discarded long ago, was Jake the asshole right? He was. Now, if there was evidence of the
was Jake the asshole right? There he was.
24-hour sun, then I think I would have maybe listened a little better. But I said,
if there was evidence of the 24-hour sun, then maybe I would have listened a little better. Oh, so because he didn't get to 69 with Will Duffy in Antarctica for 24 straight hours, because he didn't get cucked out by Will Duffy back then when I showed him the fucking proof that what he was saying was wrong. He didn't listen. He should have listened a little better because there wasn't enough 24-hour sun proof. As if the sunrise and sunset angles provided by people in Australia and Tasmania wasn't enough proof. Jeran, I showed you a guy in Tasmania pointing his compass at the sun. Jeran, you have and had at the time subscribers who lived in Australia who could have easily pointed their compass at the sun and showed you that what I was saying was true. You never followed up and had any of your subscribers south of the Tropic of Capricorn do any experiments on your behalf. You never followed up. You just made excuses, you cuckwad. So according to Jeran, I was right, but he didn't listen to me because there wasn't enough evidence of the 24-hour sun. One more time. I want everyone to make sure they heard out of Jeran's mouth.
Match reality. The sun goes the wrong way because it's a sphere. So the flat Earth map should have been discarded long ago. Was Jake the asshole right? He was. Now, if there was evidence of the 24-hour sun, then I think I would have maybe listened a little better. But I said,
so I never said that since the circling sun path is wrong, that it's a sphere. No. I've always maintained that the Earth is flat, but that circling sun path between the tropics is what was wrong. Jeran, on the other hand, oh no, he makes the complete flip to the globe. See the difference? So I went back to the drawing board and figured out a way to correct the AE map and make the 24-hour sun work, make all the sunrise and sunset angles work, and figure out how to explain it to others and show it. Yeah, I did that. What did Jeran do? Make excuses like a bitch for years and then go 69 Will Duffy in Antarctica, drink Will Duffy's jizz, and then come back and do a globe flip. So there you go. Out of Jeran's own mouth, admitting Jake the asshole was right. Hey, Jeran, since it took you, like 7 years, 8 years, whatever, to admit that you were wrong and that I was right, maybe you should go look how I fixed the AE map. Instead of with the circling sun, I added sun calc observable data, each observer seeing their own sunrise and sunset, each observer seeing their own independent angles to the celestials. Yeah, I fixed it, Jeran. And being as I'm so much smarter than you, Jeran, maybe you should go over there and have a look and admit that you were wrong again. Admit you were wrong and that it's not a globe and that it is flat and that Jake the asshole fixed it because I'm much smarter than you. Admit it, Jeran. You already admitted I was right all those years ago and you were a dumb fuck who was wrong. So, dumb fuck, I'm telling you you're wrong about the Earth being a globe because it ain't a globe. It's flat and each observer sees their own independent angles back to the celestials. Just like Q and Fee and myself have been showing for years now. So, you're wrong still, Jeran. And being as you were such a dumb fuck back then and it took you so long to admit it, Maybe in another 10 years, you'll admit Jake was right about this as well. All right, cross that one off the list. Okay, so recently there was a reunion of the supposed Flat Earth OGs, but it was nothing but shills. So Dave got all the shills he could find and got them all to show up for one stream to save the Flat Earth cult community, because so many people are exiting the Flat Earth cult community, figuring out that all these guys are shills, and it's an embarrassment to be seen hanging around in any of their camps. So because they're bleeding cult community members, and Dave's app is starting to lose subscribers, right? People are ditching his app. Dave called together all of the shills for one big shill stream. Witsit Gets It showed up. You guys, D Marble's shill ass showed up. D Marble, who ran a crypto scam years ago, disappeared. Left the whole truth community so that he could take all of his crypto scam money and go buy a house. Yeah, that D Marble showed up. Jacques Tallard says, what a great fighting spirit. Thank you very much for your donation. And the spirit comes from within, and it's real. I was lied to. I was duped by these people. They acted like they were my friend at one point. You know, they truly lied to me in several different ways. And they lied to their audience. They lied to millions of people. And they even used Jeran to basically throw the entire Flat Earth topic under the bus. Look at this. If you type in Jeran Campanella Antarctica, you get Flat Earther admits he was wrong. World's most popular Flat Earther goes to Antarctica and finds out that Earth is a globe, right? Flat Earther goes to Antarctica expedition to prove theory, only to discover it's actually round. See, this is what Jeran was brought in to do. This was his job the whole time. Now they can trick normies who see these headlines into believing that that truly is the most popular flat earther, and that he went to Antarctica and got proven wrong, and he admits he's wrong. Normies will buy that. But being I know that this guy was a shillbag actor from the beginning, I can put the whole story together and show you he was chosen and groomed to play this role, to make this flip. Not only did he make this flip, he was in the hit piece documentary Behind the Curve. You guys remember Behind the Curve, seen by millions of people on Netflix, starring Jeran, who failed a flat earth experiment? You guys, Jeran failed every flat earth experiment he ever did. He lost every debate against every glober that he ever did on purpose. It makes perfect sense now. He was the fall guy. He was always going to be the fall guy. And hopefully I said that correctly. With a donation says, that Antarctica mission was all fake, so no proof done for me. Just, I can't believe they were on an icy continent with perfect weather. There's some stuff about it that looks real, and then there's some stuff about it that seems like it could have been faked. I'm not going to go through every single piece of their footage and try and point out, things that are wrong with it. I just look at the entire shill crew and point out, like, none of those people can be trusted. They're all liars. They're all shitbags. And it was known before they went to Antarctica that circling sun path was wrong and that all the shills were lying about it. So I basically throw everything that they came back with out the window, because the men themselves that went down there to do the so-called final experiment, none of them are trustworthy. They're all lying shitbag shill pieces of shit. So I basically throw out all of the info that they came back with. I'm not going to sit here and say it was all fake. Perhaps some of it was real, but it falls in line with everything I said. Even if there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, the model that I created with the observable data, I accounted for that. So it doesn't debunk me. It debunks what Jeran was saying for all those years. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. So if you type in Jeran's name, you're going to find hundreds of headlines all saying, world's most popular flat earther proves that the earth is round. And it just so happens that was the guy who I told many years ago he was wrong. And he ignored me, made excuses, told everyone I was going to go back to the globe, told everyone I got cucked out by a glober. My, how the tables have turned. All right, so let me expose the shill show with David Weiss and Whitsitt, D. Marble, and all these characters. Oh, and there's a part during Jeran's stream where he actually starts throwing a lot of these shills under the bus. So I'll just go ahead and show that. And then I can throw the shills under the bus while Jeran also throws them under the bus. That's what we'll do. All right. Here we go. So, like I said, Dave Weiss set up this OG Flat Earther shill cyber meetup here, right? And he tried to get as many of his shill crew together. And they could only get like 500-600 people watching, even with all these dudes. So you got Dave Weiss, Rick Hummer. This guy was at the conferences. Here's D. Marble. Joe Hanvey. This is the shill who has the plastic salad bowls and the flashlights. And he says that he has the 24-hour sun figured out inside of his plastic bowls with his flashlight. This is the guy they're promoting as the flat earther who's attempting to fix all of the flat earth problems with the model. Here you have some other flat earth shill bags who are less important. And then here's Mark Sargent. Nathan Thompson right here. He also makes an appearance. Check this out. Jeran at one point actually exposes that D. Marble was in a crypto scam.
Stephen Alonso. Neither of them, I don't think, are doctors. And yet nobody has a problem with that. But if you've got Professor Dave, everyone calls him not a professor. Oh, this guy's a liar. Just notice that this is clear hypocrisy.
Like having, third thoughts that they are privy, or maybe they didn't look into that enough. And I think that's the biggest thing, because that seems to be the argument for people at this point, that they witnessed what they saw. And at the same time, that's been mentioned to me about the rockets that were going up. So
what about
again, none of this, from my standpoint, whether or not it's the star trails or not, whether or not what happens in the sky, it doesn't negate the fact that we've tested the water. We tested everything.
It does. It's called evidence, and evidence leads you to a conclusion. And when you test the ground, like we've tested the ground. Yes, you've tested the ground, and the ground is flat and level for what you've tested. And you haven't seen anything. You haven't seen 500 miles from 10 feet high, where I've told you exactly why. I've given you the evidence that is now yours to take and do what you want with. If you choose not to watch me, then don't come asking me questions. You're on your own. Okay? Let's look at another thing here. I have to bring this up. Daryl Marble's on here too. Daryl Marble, who should be worried about all the people. I guess he's already, maybe people aren't after him anymore. But if people don't know, he ran some scam for months, years, where he had recruited over 1,000 people to pay hundreds of dollars into some multi-level marketing Ponzi scheme.
Really? Jeran, Why didn't you tell us about that? If you knew for years that D Marble ran a crypto Ponzi scheme, why didn't you make a video and call him out and throw his ass under the bus back then? Why are you just now bringing this up, Jeran? You guys, I told you that D Marble son of a bitch was never a legit truther, right? He was in it for like fame and money. And then he ran some crypto scam on his own audience, made a couple $100,000, went and bought a house in Arkansas, and just disappeared and quit. And then he just now shows up to hang out with David Weiss and Mark Sargent and Nathan Thompson and Joe Hanvey and these shills. How about that? One more time, Jeran, tell us about D Marble.
Okay. Let's look at another thing here. I have to bring this up. Daryl Marble's on here too. Daryl Marble, who should be worried about all the people. I guess he's already, maybe people aren't after him anymore. But if people don't know, he ran some scam for months, years, where he had recruited over 1,000 people to pay hundreds of dollars into some multi-level marketing Ponzi scheme that I, for 2 years, told him and Curtis, you guys are involved in a scam. The bottom will fall out. I will, you're going to steal all those people's money. Oh yeah, you're just jealous. We have 700,000, we have 7,000 or $70,000 in the bank and you don't have nothing. And we've got all these people underneath us and they're all happy. And that's what him and his buddy were telling me. And I said, yeah, I know that. And you're like, dude, we made money. You want to see our bank account? No, I know how Ponzi schemes work, jackasses. It works by paying the people there early. And then all the people that come after you that you're recruiting will have the bottom pulled out from underneath them. And that's exactly what happened. And then they went into hiding for 6 months. Now he's back out to talk about flat earth. You should go take care of those people that you robbed.
6 months, Jeran? No, D Marble's been in hiding for years. He hasn't done anything flat earth related for years, Jeran. So more like 3 years or something. That guy hasn't been active. Every great once in a while on his channel, he'll show up and like mow his lawn and be like, hey guys, I'm D Marble, still here at my big house. Just letting you know I'm still alive. And then he disappears. So the guy hasn't done anything truth-wise in several years. And Jeran, you told him that years ago, but you never told your audience, you never made a video warning people about it. Why didn't you warn people not to get involved in D Marble's crypto scam, Jeran? How come just now you're coming out and telling people about it? Weird, I just now got a text. Oh, from Dan the Waterman. Okay. I was wondering who that was from. All right.
Of all that money. And then give them some of the money that you took from them. All right, let's show you this.
Gee, I wonder what D Marble thinks about Jeran calling him a crypto scammer. So yeah, anyone who knows D Marble, still friends with them on like Facebook or something, why don't you go tell him Jake the asshole called him out as a crypto scammer, but also Jeran called him out as a crypto scammer? Why doesn't he come out and make a video and explain that he's not a crypto scammer? Hey, D Marble, where you been for the last like 3 years? Huh? How come you don't care about the truth no more, D Marble? You know what D Marble says if you ask him where he's been for the last 3 years? I've been working on my house. I got a house and it's big and I got to work on it. That was always D Marble's excuse, was that his house is so big, he has to work on it, and he doesn't have time for flat earth or truth anymore. So if you say, yeah, you're all about the money then, huh? All you care about is your house, then he'll say, well, you live in your car with your dog. So then he'll make fun of where you live, and then he'll make fun of you not having as much money. That's what he did to me. When I called Daryl Marble out for turning his back on the truth, buying this house and disappearing, he basically was like, I spend all my time working on my house and you live in your car with your dog. Okay, but I'm going to go down as the legendary truther and funniest dude who ever lived. And you're going to go down as a fucking loser-ass crypto scamming shitbag shill who's now irrelevant and forgotten. Hope it was worth it, Marble. God, I love that. I love that Jeran called out the crypto scam part. One more time. One more time. I got to hear it one more time.
You're on your own. Okay. Let's look at another thing here. I have to bring this up. Daryl Marble's on here too. Daryl Marble, who should be worried about all the people. I guess he's already, maybe people aren't after him anymore. But if people don't know, he ran some scam for months, years, where he had recruited over 1,000 people to pay hundreds of dollars into some multi-level marketing Ponzi scheme that I, for 2 years, told him and Curtis, you guys are involved in a scam. The bottom will fall out. I will, you're going to steal all those people's money. Oh yeah, you're just jealous. We have 700,000, we have 7,000 or $70,000 in the bank and you don't have nothing. And we've got all these people underneath us and they're all happy. And that's what him and his buddy were telling me. And I said, yeah, I know that. And you're like, dude, we made money. You want to see our bank account? No, I know how Ponzi schemes work, jackasses. It works by paying the people there early. And then all the people that come after you that you're recruiting will have the bottom pulled out from underneath them.
So Jeran decides he's going to call out Dave for his app and D Marble for his crypto scam like 2 days ago. But he never fucking told you about the crypto scam as it was happening years ago. You could have saved a lot of people a lot of money there, Jeran, if you would have did the right thing. But that would have meant throwing one of your shill buddies, D Marble, who was really popular at the time, under the bus. And you didn't do that. No, but now you want to do that. Now that you've drank Will Duffy's jizz, now you're Mr. Globe Earth Defender. Now you want to call him out.
And that's exactly what happened. And then they went into hiding for 6 months.
So there's Jeran calling out D Marble. God, I loved getting my payback on old D Marble. D Marble slandered me a long time ago, made a video about me, got a bunch of people to like take his side. There was a time where you could just be like, Jake's a crybaby and Jake is just jealous. Jake's divisive. And Jake's the one who was sent here to make Flat Earth look stupid. And as long as you said that and you had enough subscribers, everyone would just buy that. The majority of people would just be like, yeah, I hate that guy. Fuck him. They didn't care about where the sun rose and where the sun set. They didn't give a fuck about any of the evidence that I showed. The majority of people back then took the shill's side. And now all these years later, the irrelevant little shill fuck, after he scammed everyone, and I've rebuilt my audience several times over, I'm a force to be reckoned with these days. Still standing here. The guy who remembers the whole story. Been doing this truthing thing the whole time while D Marble's shill ass was hanging out in his big house. Yeah. What now, D Marble? What now, bitch? Bet you're too chicken shit to even address any of this. Show some receipt. And I bet you can't do that. All right. So we got Shill Show and D Marble taken care of. All right. Oh, who else was up on the up on the screen. I almost forgot. Let me call out a couple more shill bags. So this, it's kind of blurry because Jeran's watching a video and we're watching a video of Jeran watching a video, so it's blurry. But this is Nathan Thompson. Nathan Thompson is a fake flat earther. He's the guy they call when they need a flat earther to lose a debate or look stupid on camera. Nathan Thompson has been in all the hit piece documentaries. And there he is sitting on the panel with Dave. How come no one's like, hey, Nathan Thompson, how come you fell for all those hit piece documentaries, you moron? So Nathan Thompson was not only in Behind the Curve, he was like one of the main characters in Behind the Curve. He was in like 3 other hit piece documentaries that also got a bunch of views. I think he's been in like 4 or 5 different hit piece documentaries. There was one where some guys tricked him into putting on a duck costume and pretending to be a duck in the name of flat earth. Just ridiculous stuff. He got arrested, you guys. Got legitimately arrested for climbing a fence at an elementary school and yelling at elementary school children that the earth is flat and trying to hand out pamphlets at an elementary school. So this is the guy whose job it is to make flat earth look retarded, legitimately, like it's his actual job. That's what he has done. That's what he's known for. And there he is sitting on Dave Weiss's panel. What video did Nathan Thompson make that everyone loved? No, he's known for being the guy that makes flat earth look retarded. He doesn't bring up the stuff I bring up, like with the sunrise and sunset angles, the smart stuff, the stuff that makes the topic sound intelligent and intricate and advanced. You know, the stuff like I talk about when I talk about it. No. Instead, he purposely loses debates to these globers. And then he's in all the hit piece documentaries. So when you look up these typical flat earthers from a mainstream standpoint, the mainstream point of view, they find guys like Nathan Thompson and Jeran, and they go, oh, these are the stupid flat earthers. And that's by design. They want you to find guys like Jeran who flip-flop to the globe. They want you to find guys like Nathan Thompson who lose the debates on purpose, willingly participate in every hit piece documentary. All you got to do is give Nathan a couple $100 and give him a plane ticket and a hotel, and he'll lose a debate and look like a retard like that. I couldn't tell you how their contract works exactly, how much they get paid. There's no way for me to know that. But it's obvious that these people aren't legit like me. I'm a real dude. I can tomorrow talk about something completely different and put all this shit on the back burner and talk about something completely different, right? These shills, if you'll look, they're married to a certain subject and they're not really allowed to talk about other stuff. So you won't see a guy like Jeran break down the fact that Trump, you know, his ear thing was staged. You won't see Jeran breaking down any bang bang pow pow drills or anything really. In fact, Jeran has to shill for the mainstream news in certain circumstances. Jeran will tell you that January 6th was a totally legit event and someone really did die. Jeran shills for Hollywood Transformers. I got proof. So here's how I know these guys definitely are not legit like me. They're married to a certain subject that they always talk about. And it's as if they're only allowed to talk about that subject. And if you try and drag them into a different subject, you know, like if you were to say like, oh, Cameron Diaz is a man, Jeran has to into defending mainstream in Hollywood. And he has to be like, no, Cameron Diaz is a beautiful lady. There's no way she's a man. That's how you can tell. If someone's only allowed to talk about this one subject, And then when you try and drag them into other subjects, they don't want to go there, man. Yeah. Speaking of, I got some funny videos of Jeran I can show you. And I got some dirt on the flat earth scene and all the shills basically collectively. They know it. I know it. And I'm going to spill the beans. But before I spill all the beans, show you the real dirty dirt. Let me go ahead and show you some of the funny stuff. All right. Let's see. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, to me, that's what people become when they no longer have females in their life. I've never looked at a dog and ran over and kissed it and thought it was the most beautiful dog in the world because I have women that can do that too.
How's everybody doing out there in you?
Before we get to Jeran wanting to measure my manhood, Big Kev coming in with a donation says Aaron Haywood is an Archon. So Big Kev has made some funny videos exposing Aaron Haywood, who is the guy who goes around calling people shape-shifting Archons. So there's a guy in Tasmania who literally thinks people are actual shape-shifting Archons, and he made videos about me. And so this guy Big Kev made some funny videos trolling Aaron, you know, showing a picture of Aaron and his bald head, and then showing a picture of Michael Jordan, and then saying that Aaron is a shape-shifting Archon and that he's Michael Jordan, stuff like that. So if any of you guys like the shape-shifting Archon stuff, Big Kev made some funny videos about it. Anyway, thanks, Big Kev. All right, so here's the video of Jeran wanting to measure my penis. Literally. No joke.
YouTube land.
Ugh. And this is where I feel bad for him because he's now living out of a van, and I tried to help him. And he's just continued to come after me with bullshit and nonsense and lies. And when somebody can only defend themselves with lies, it gets sad. I feel bad for him because his life must be horrendous. And I'm going to take a chance that his dick is extremely tiny. So, Jake, here's your bet. $10,000 plus loser leaves YouTube. You heard me right. $10,000 cash. User leaves YouTube. Who has a bigger dick? And, you know, like in baseball, when somebody gets +1 runs, you've seen that before, right? Anybody ever seen that? +1 runs, or maybe in a football game, they get +7. You get +3. And I'm talking about inches. Yes, +3. Okay, +3. And we can have Thomas Scott News. He can be the one who views them both. Nobody has to show it.
So Jeran literally challenged me to a loser leaves YouTube penis measuring contest with $10,000 on the line. And he wasn't joking. He wasn't like, ha, 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 ha. You know what would be funny? If we had a penis measuring contest. Just kidding. Just messing around. No. Dude was serious. You could hear it in his voice. He wanted to do it. So you guys, Jeran thinks because he has a big dick that like everyone's going to be so impressed by it. And he thinks that he can hurt any other man's feelings and make any other man look bad by just challenging that man to a dick measuring contest and then proclaiming that that man has a small dick. So that's Jeran's thing, is that like, oh, this guy's talking shit about me. Must be because he has a small dick. I'm Jeran. I have a big dick. So like, I challenge you to a dick contest. Who has the big dick? And I know I'm going to win. I'm Jeran, you guys. Loser leaves YouTube. Yeah, that's the guy who got picked to go to Antarctica. When I tell people there is a such thing as government agents, there is a such thing as people who pretend to be flat earthers, this is one of them. The same guy who went to Antarctica, the most famous flat earther who got who found out that the earth is round. Yeah, that's the guy who wanted to measure my cock. That one. How about that? What a coincidence. Right? So there's the proof that Jeran challenged me to a dick measuring contest. Guess what, guys? I declined. And then guess what, guys? He went to the Merced County Courthouse. That's the town he lives in, Merced. And he filed a restraining order. And then he went to court on the date of the restraining order hearing, and the judge threw it out. I didn't even have to show up. So he attempted to file a restraining order against me because I declined a penis measuring contest. Guy, I'm Jeran. I'm the opposite of mainstream. I'm always honest. I'm Jeran. I'm always honest, you guys. That's what he tells everyone. I'm always honest. I never lied to you. Everyone else lied. Everyone else was dishonest. I'm Jeran. I never lie. I'm always honest. I'm the opposite of mainstream. Kelly Yamaguchi says, sounds to me that Jeranism is triggered from you. Well, of course, see, back in 2021, 2022, I started calling him out as a shill because he was doing the Baby Truther show. So I had called him out back in 2017, right? But then I shut up about it. I even stopped doing YouTube for a while and was singing in nursing homes in like 2019. So there was like a time where I left Jeran alone and didn't say anything about it. And he basically thought that he got away with being a shillbag scot-free. And then in 2021, 2022 was when I started calling out the Baby Truther show, calling out Jeran again. And that's when we got into this feud. And he was starting to squirm noticeably because I was like, this guy's an actor. He's acting right now. He's like, oh, what do you mean? An actor? What are you talking about? And I was like, he's got an IMDb. He was in the Hit Piece documentary. He's an actor, you guys. So I straight up called him out, not just a shill, but as an actor pretending to be a flat earther. And he would be like, oh, what do you mean? Who would do that? Nobody's going to pay me to pretend to be a flat earther. That's crazy, you guys. So that's when this whole dick measuring thing went down. And then he went and tried to file a false restraining order against me after I declined. So this was like 2022, right? So I went back and forth with him several different times. And basically every time I spank his shill ass in front of everyone. And then he cries like a bitch. And then that's it. And then he just likes to pretend like that never happened. Local Enterprise Broadcasting said, most underrated channel on YouTube. Keep up the great work. P.S. R.I.P. Jeff Censored. Haven't heard that about that guy in a while. Most underrated channel on YouTube. Yeah, well, probably one of the more shadow banned channels. That's for sure. You know what was funny was I spent a bunch of hours making that moon landing debunk video, and it only got like 6,000 views on the first day, a little less than 6,000. And then the next day, I just went in my car and just like mocked the people who are complaining in their car. And then I said at the end of the video, we're gonna see me complaining in my car versus me editing a video all day long, which one gets more views. And the one in the car got more views in 24 hours. So the video I did in my van, the little satire video I made, it did better than the one that I spent all day editing. So what does that tell you? There's pretty much no point in me spending all day to edit videos if I can sit in my car and spend 15 minutes making a parody video and make just as much money and get more views. Some of you guys are not going to like to hear that. You're going to be like, no, we don't want you to start complaining in your car. I'm not going to turn my channel into a complain in my car channel, but I do want to point out me complaining in my car performed better than any video I've put out since the Super Bowl breakdown. Not even kidding. I could show you the statistics. Thank you, local enterprise broadcasting. I'm rigged coming in with a donation, said undefeated. Didn't you do videos with a guy, Thomas, back in the day? Whatever happened with him? Looked like y'all were killing it. Thomas was a friend of mine, but Thomas pissed me off one day. Thomas would try and control things that I like said, because he would tell me like, oh, when you do your racist stuff about black people, I cringe. And so like, you know, if I'm hanging out with Thomas and like I happen to use a word that he doesn't like, you know, like the word that represents a bundle of sticks or the N word, Thomas would be like, don't say that. Yeah. It cringes. What you shouldn't be saying that. So he tried to tell me not to say faggot. Tried to tell me not to say the N word. Tried to tell me not to say, you know, whatever I feel like saying at the time. And he even told me that like some people look down on him because he hangs out with me. And so I was like, hey, you know what? Here's an idea. Fuck off then. And don't hang out with me. So that was how we solved that issue. I pretty much told him, oh, you don't like what I have to say? Oh, you don't like the way people are talking about how you hang out with a guy who's a bigot or whatever? Cool. Don't hang out with me anymore and fuck off. That was that. You know what it is he has a kid who's like a girl that wants to be a boy. So he couldn't handle me being critical of Transformers. So Thomas was like a dude who had kids, was married. He has like a personality where he seems like he's gay, but then when you talk to him, he's like slobbering over women constantly. Like an average looking chick walking by, he'll be like, oh my God, she's so hot. Oh my God. Right? So Thomas was one of these guys that people like if you just look at him at first glance, he acts kind of gay. But then if you hang out with him, he's always slobbering over like any woman. He'll hook up with any chick who gives him any attention. And so he has 3 kids, and one of his girls likes to act like a boy and wanted to not be called her given girl name and instead be called by this boy's name. And so I never said anything about his kids, never disrespected his children or anything. But when he tried to tell me that like I'm not I shouldn't use these certain words. He was trying to tell me like, oh, it makes you look bad when you say these certain things, and then it makes me look bad because I hang out with you. Well, fuck off then. So yeah. Yeah, I got rid of that guy a while back. And you know what? He was also just a negative friend. He never had anything really good happening in his life. You know how you have certain friends who like all they have is negative shit happening to them, and they pretty much just are always bitching about shit, and they never really have much positive going on, and their life doesn't seem to be getting better. It seems to be getting worse. He was one of those type of friends. So yeah, I kicked him to the curb. Don't miss him. The only thing I miss was that we used to make songs together. That's the only part about him that I wish we could get together and record some music, because as a guitar player and music producer, we worked well together and we made some really cool tunes. So that part I miss. Other than that, I don't miss him at all. All right. But we're talking about Jeran, so I don't want to get off subject here. So let me get back to Jeran, because I got some funny videos to expose Jeran. So we just saw a video of Jeran challenging me to a penis measuring contest. So now we'll check out a video of Jeran claiming that he can't satisfy his wife's needs and she cheated on him. All right, here we go. And Jeran loves when people show this video. He loves it.
So sadly, I have been bitch slapped. And let me just apologize first and foremost here for the following segment that may be disorganized. It may be me tripping over my words. It may be me getting sentimental or emotional a little bit. I won't cry on the radio, so I will certainly just be quiet. And if you hear quiet, that's probably what's going on. But this is difficult. So, I mean, really, like I said, I've been bitch slapped by truth or by a dishonest person. And it so happened that that particular dishonest person was the one person I never expected it to be. And so perhaps it's a learning experience for people, because for me it was. And, you know, I spent the last 3 or 4 years pointing out liars, pointing out frauds. And I continue to say that liars have wrecked the world. And in my case, liars have, you know, wrecked the world for sure, and also wrecked my marriage. So I apologize if I sound, like I said, jumpy, or if I'm here and there, you know, because I'm winging this. I have nothing prepared other than, you know, truth, shooting from the heart. And it's probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to speak on. And truly, you know, I just don't know now. I just don't know how to really say it. You know, I'm not going to, like I said, not going to cry on the radio. So forgive me if there is moments where I just shut up. But, you know, you just have to wait it out. And so when Missa came along and had basically the same story, as we started talking more and more about the possibility of maybe her even moving in, one of the things that was so important to me was the idea of truthfulness in a relationship. And that every relationship that I'd ever been in had ended because somebody had lied, somebody had you know, been dishonest. And I said, isn't it easier that we're just honest? And so Miss and I wanted to have a relationship that was different. And that was how we initiated things. We said, let's be honest, let's be truthful about everything we do. And so we were. And at least that's the way that we have been, in the fact that if I find a girl attractive, I'll tell her. If I, you know, we're just very open. And I think that it allowed us to have a different kind of relationship. We both saw and made fun of or you know, talked about, or, you know, at least explored all the other relationships that we saw. And from our parents to our friends, everything. And it was very easy to usually recognize the error in the process. Where did things go wrong? Where did it start to not work out? And so the problem becomes, fast forward many, many, many years, 7 years from the date of our marriage, fast forward to this past Monday, and imagine the slap across the face, the hammer throw, the anvil drop for me to find out that my wife, who I had every faith in the world in, who meant the world to me, I found out that she has been having a extramarital sexual encounter with my best friend.
Oh, Jeran's wife cheated with him on his best friend. Oh, sucks to be you, bro. Can't make a 304 a housewife. Can't make a streetwalker into a housewife. Come on, Jeran. Should have known better. And guess what, you guys? Jeran is still with this same lady. And they procreated. And they have a special needs boy. Jeran and his whore wife procreated and created a special needs boy. What a wonderful world. Jeran decided to stick by his lady. Turns out he enjoys watching her get banged by other men. It's kind of his thing. Oh, you don't like what I'm saying right now, Jeran? But you're always honest, right? You're always such an honest guy. You never said anything wrong about me. You never lied or slandered me, right? Never said anything bad about me, right? But I'm being mean by saying this about you, huh, Jeran? It's only mean and evil and bad when somebody does this to Jeran. But when Jeran shits all over somebody, oh, well, that's perfectly acceptable. It's because they deserved it. Right, Jerry? Hey, it's your wife, Jerry. Here's the thing, Jeran. I wouldn't come out and call your wife a whore, except you admitted she cheated on you with your best friend. So that means she is. You admitted it. So you're the one who told us that she cheated on you. You could have kept it a secret. but you chose to tell everyone. So you wanted us to know that your wife sleeps around. How many people think that Jeran's wife only cheated that once? I wonder if she cheated multiple times. I wonder if she still cheats. Maybe when you were in Antarctica, she was riding a bunch of big black cocks. How would you know, Jeran, if while you were in Antarctica, she wasn't riding all the biggest, blackest cocks in town? How would you know? You wouldn't know. Means she probably was. Oh, wait. Let's finish that. Let's go ahead and finish that.
Imagine my shock that, I spend every day pointing out liars, frauds, Richard Branson, George Whitesides, NASA, President Bush, and yet sleeping in my very bed was someone lying to my face. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. More with Jeranism Monday night, and it doesn't get any rawer than this.
Indeed, it does not get any more raw than that.
There you go, guys. Straight out of the shillbag's mouth. His wife cheated on him with his best friend. And he forgave her and then created a human with her. What a great plan, Jeran. Sure, that's been working out for you. Excellent. That's why you sound like you're so happy. Guys, if you listen to Jeran, he's always in a terrible mood and he always sounds angry and triggered. Every single stream is like, this is Jeran, F you. And flat earthers, you guys are dishonest. And you guys are cult members. He's got this like negative shitbag attitude. He has to walk around with that and live that every day. I don't have to live with that bullshit attitude. During my streams, I get to have fun. I mean, tonight I'm busting your shill ass. But, like my last couple streams, we party. We have fun. People ask me to do impressions. I sing songs. And it's a great time. Sometimes I whip out the bass, all that stuff. Jeran doesn't have that. You know what Jeran does? You guys, I used to be a flat earther, but now I'm not a flat earther. And they're a cult. I used to be in a cult, but now I'm not in that cult no more. And you guys, you need to get rid of Dave Weiss' app now. These flat earthers, they're dumb. They need to realize that the earth cannot be flat. I'm trying to help you. Become not a flat earther anymore, you guys. That's what he does every week. That's his job now. I'm Jeran. It's my job to flip-flop back to the globe, you guys. I'm here to warn you. Dave Weiss' app is a tracking app. Well, how come you didn't warn us 3 years ago when I was warning people? Asshole. Oh, because I was too dumb. I was too dumb to figure it out back then. Jake the asshole was right. Jake the asshole's way smarter than me. He figures stuff out years before I do. So I'm going to be a dumb fuck for another 5 to 10 years, and then maybe I'll admit Jake was right about the earth not being a globe. All right. Oh, but wait, there's more, you guys. Just to show you that Jeran will shill for Transformers. There was one time where he pretended Cameron Diaz is the sexiest lady. Watch this. This is funny.
They're so satanic. Everything's upside down. So what do you think? There's just some team of people out there that are taking boys, turning them into women, inputting them into movies, and making sure that they're better looking than all other women? It doesn't make any sense. Shakira, Jessica Alba. I mean, it's Cameron Diaz. And it's they've never seen a woman get a little bit older. Cameron Diaz is 50 fucking years old. And these guys show, when I say Cameron Diaz, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Why would you say that? Haven't you seen the picture of her in a swimsuit? I'm like, what? No, show me. So, I mean, it's going to be hard to find probably. Not this one. This is when she was younger. But, and I say, can't you tell by the hips? I study skulls and anatomy.
Rose 777 is a dirty shill-ass witch. And then she flip-flopped to the globe as well. She was on the Baby Truther show with Jeran and Alex Stein and Dave Weiss. In fact, the intro to the Baby Truther show features Rose 777 throwing up 666s over her eyes and cringe dancing in her wheelchair. Let's see. And as far as Crow goes, Crow's another one of these shills who pretends like there's no such thing as a shill. Anyone who tells you that nobody's a shill and that anyone calling people shills is probably a shill, yeah, they're a fucking shill is what that means. So guys like Mark Sargent will tell you that no flat earther is a shill. Everyone is just a different person with a different point of view, which is a fucking bullshit shill thing to say because Mark Sargent is a fucking shill. So of course he tells you there's no such thing as a shill.
Yeah, I'm sure Cameron Diaz is a fucking... Have you seen Cameron Diaz in The Mask? What do you think? That's a boy? What the fuck is wrong with you? Fucking idiots. Unbelievable. It's sickening. And again...
Yeah, Jeran's show each week, he attacks any remaining flat earthers who might be listening. And now he just caters to his globe cuck audience. And then every week he's in a bad mood. So there's not like a week where Jeran's in a good mood and happy. He's just like constantly pissed off. Imagine having to live for the rest of your fucking life being a pissed off fucking cocksucker shill who like pretended to be a flat earther, but now you have to like kiss a bunch of globe earth shills ass, hang out with guys like Mick Toon, pretend like you like him now.
I don't even care. If you want to go do it on your channel, go do it. But so they show this picture and say, clearly that's a man. No, bro, that's a 50-year-old woman.
Look, Jen, I just showed Mark Sargent earlier. He was hanging out with David Weiss. Yeah, Mark Sargent is still around. Patricia Steer flip-flopped and became a Glober. So Mark Sargent brought in Liz Beth to be his new co-host. Mark Sargent is still around, still being a shill bag, pretending to be a flat earther.
Okay. And she looks better in her life than any woman you've ever touched. And maybe it makes you feel better.
So he says that this looks better than any woman I've ever touched. I can tell you that's most definitely incorrect. Now, I may not have been, with a super hot mama recently, but in my life, I have been with a few that didn't look like a dude. I've been with a few voluptuous women who've definitely got curves, and I can tell you, they looked better than this. Now, when Cameron Diaz was younger and in some of the Hollywood movies, she did look better. But when you see this Cameron Diaz, it's obvious there's more than meets the eye, if you know what I'm saying. A little transformer action.
To say, oh, there's a man because look at her hips. No, it's a 50-year-old woman. And she's probably older than that. I don't even know how old she is. Okay? But to think that you can look at this and say that it's a guy, what's wrong with you? Jesus. Can't believe it. Okay? But to think that you can look at this and say that it's a guy, what's wrong with you?
See how Jeran takes this position? So when you drag him away from his flat earth shill topic and you give him something like Cameron Diaz, that's a beautiful woman. What's wrong with you? Ask him about January 6th. It was real. That one girl died, you guys, at January 6th. See? So when you drag him away from his shill topic, he has to toe the mainstream media corporate line. He's not allowed to tell you the truth about other stuff. Whereas you ask me about any subject and I'll tell you what I really think. I'm not married to one topic or two topics. Oh, another thing. Even something as basic as the NFL being rigged, he says that the NFL is not rigged. All they need to do is just get equal money on both sides, and they're going to make money regardless. So there's no reason to rig the games because they'll just get 50-50 money on both sides and make money off the VIG. That's what Jeran says, is that they just get 50-50 money on both sides So there's no reason to rig the games. So Jeran takes the stance that sports aren't fixed. All right. Now, Jeran is bringing up two of his shill buddies and congratulating them for flip-flopping to the globe. One of them being Robbie Davidson. Now, this gargoyle-looking fucking meth head, he's the one that put on the original International Flat Earth conferences. I think he did like the first 4 conferences. And then when the attendance dipped and the money dried up, he stopped doing the conferences and disappeared. And he just recently showed back up to claim that he's no longer a flat earther. And now Jeran is promoting Robbie Davidson, saying, hey, you guys, remember Robbie Davidson? He put on the Flat Earth Conference? Yeah, he's not a flat earther anymore. Yeah, he came to his senses and he figured out that it's a globe like me. So guys, check it out. This guy put on the first Flat Earth Conference and he brought Logan Paul. He let Logan Paul into the conference to troll the flat earthers. Logan Paul, you know, that twat who's got millions of YouTube followers and social media followers. Yeah, he let that guy into the conference to troll the flat earthers. So if you're a true blue flat earther who cares about the message and the movement, are you going to let Logan Paul in there to troll your attendees? Are you going to quit when attendance starts to dip because there's no more money? Well, that's what Robbie Davidson did. But Jeran wants to pretend like this is a flat earther who flip-flopped back to the globe and we should all give a fuck. Hey, Jeran, Robbie Davidson was a no-good shitbag shill who never made any good quality content that anyone ever cared about. He was all about the money. He was never a real flat earther. Idiot. So then that brings me to another supposed flat earther who flip-flopped to the globe, Patricia Steer. She's also recently came out and said she's no longer a flat earther. She was in the hit piece documentary Behind the Curve. She was one of the main characters, her and Mark. Patricia Steer has never made any actual flat earth content. She's just a talking head. And her and Mark don't even really talk about the ins and outs of the flat earth. They don't talk about how a flat earth works. They don't talk about the actual model of a flat earth. They just talk about drama and bullshit, just talking heads. So here's Mark and Patty. They have IMDb pages. They were at basically all of the conferences, speakers at the conferences. And so now Patty is claiming she's no longer a flat earther anymore. But people were calling her a shill way back in like 2016, right? So I would argue that she never had any real credibility. Nobody woke up to the flat earth because of Patricia or Robbie. So who gives a fuck what shill move they're doing now? Oh, they think it's a globe? Good for them. They're irrelevant shitbags that nobody really ever followed anyway. And on top of it, yes, there is some people who believe, including me, that Patricia Steer is a transformer. And you know what's hilarious is there's some guys who pretend to be the Flat Earth sheriffs. Nacho Queefer, Zetetic Warrior Princess. They like to pretend like they're the Flat Earth shill-busting sheriffs now, like they're the de facto leaders. Meanwhile, Patricia Steer was a moderator in Nachiketa's chat not long ago. Zetetic Warrior was gushing over how pretty Patricia Steer is. Yeah, Zetetic Warrior said that whenever Patricia Steer comes around, he falls under the Patricia Steer effect. And Notch is like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And Z says, oh, it's a good thing. Meaning he gets a boner for Patty Steer. Then when she decides she's not a flat earther anymore, then Notch and Z are like, maybe she was a shill all along. Yeah, no shit. So now you got guys like Notch, like, it seems like maybe this whole crew, maybe they were shills all along. Whoa! The thing that me and QNFee have said for the last 8 years, you think that might be what's happening? Maybe they were shills all along? Just like me and QNFee have told you for fucking years? Wow, what a concept, Notch. Did you figure that out yourself? So we got guys pretending like they're the new shillbusters in town, but they don't have any of the ammo that I have. They don't carry the receipts that I carry. Speaking of ammo, I still got more. You know what I got? I still got QNFee, who destroyed Jeran just recently. I'm going to show some of his video coming up later. So I got my boy QNFee. We are the OG Flat Earth content creators who never flip-flopped, never lied, never wavered. We're the true OG Flat Earth sheriffs, the true OG warriors. So Z, you're still learning who these people are. You didn't even know who Joshua Swift even was. You had to be informed who Joshua Swift was on your show. In fact, Z, Notch, you guys allowed Joshua Swift to come on your show and tell his story about how he graped a girl. You gave him your platform to tell his story. I would never do that. If Joshua showed up here, I'd be like, get lost, Chomo. I'm not letting you on my program. Speaking of, let me go ahead and show you the receipts for all of that. So Jeran's January edition of Speaker's Corner, he had Joshua Swift, the guy who graped a 14-year-old girl. Yeah, he came on Jeran's show, and Jeran acted like he didn't even know who he was, even though Jeran knows damn well exactly. Check this out. So here's the January edition of Speaker's Corner. That's where Jeran lets anyone, supposedly anyone, join his panel and say whatever they want. But it's always filled with shills, as if the shills are told to show up to Jeran's Speaker's Corner stream and say their little piece. Check this out.
You're not ever coming off the thing there. Let's go with authentic intent. Are you there? Thank you. I'm going to give you your
here.
4 minutes. Go.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me on. This is probably the most exciting time for Flat Earth since I think it's almost been introduced, almost 10 years ago. I just want to quickly introduce myself too and share that before 2020, I spoke out in.
So this is Joshua Swift. He admitted to graping a 14-year-old girl. He was convicted of it. Karen B interviewed him and talked to him about it, and he admitted it. Here he is on Jeran's stream, and Jeran doesn't go, hey, hi, Joshua. No, Jeran pretends like he doesn't know who this is, even though he was at the conferences. Dave stuck up for him. Karen interviewed him. So Jeran knows exactly who this is, but Jeran stays quiet. Doesn't say nothing. Just lets Josh talk.
In public for 3 years here in Minneapolis about Flat Earth. I'd go to my local lake and talk about Flat Earth and share the information with people. Because I know that in social media realm that they pigeonhole a lot of topics so that the information isn't going to be brought to people that are never looking into Flat Earth. So I decided that, yeah, coincidentally enough, it was Eric Dubé's video that kind of sparked that for me.
Name dropping Eric Dubé.
It had never crossed my mind that the Earth could be flat. I always thought that it was a globe. Cool. Any other possibility? The same day that thing, I went out there just getting, a lot of tests at Flattoberfest after 2020 was
Here's where he admits that he was a speaker at the conferences and the Flattober events. And Jeran doesn't go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. How have you been, Joshua?" Jeran doesn't acknowledge that he knows this guy at all. Jeran just stays quiet, doesn't mention Joshua's past, doesn't mention that he knows him at all. So apparently Jeran doesn't care to call out Joshua.
One that I went to, and I spoke there, and then I spoke at the two Flattoberfests after 2020, and so I think that this is a really exciting time, like I was saying, because what this is doing is it's separating the divide, because a lot of people were kind of lukewarm about flat Earth and globe Earth, and stay out of attention. Opportunity to get flat Earth out there. So I know that there's tons of new people public here in Minneapolis. First, it's fun, share the testimony, may be true or not, but fight over whether. Yeah, I wanted to ask you if you know of anybody that's going to go back down there in 6 months to see if there's a 24-hour sun or 24-hour nighttime. Just because I think that would be
for sure
science.
For sure there
is something like that.
For sure, there's a 24-hour night. We've already known that. And I know people are going to go down next year for the marathon. That person faked it. $1 each for 30 anything. People have already pulled from that kind of stuff goes in being tracked in Antarctica and can be faked. Like we did so moving around. So I don't think Flat Earth is in a position anymore. The city rules for celebrate when they win. When the guys at Flat Earthers they act like.
I'm just skipping ahead because Jeran doesn't call this guy out. Jeran doesn't act like he knows this guy. Jeran's pretending like he doesn't know who this is.
We have all the evidence. We have all the proof. We have all the explanations, and we have all the predictions. When the actual truth is, we don't. We say fake, not real, nothing burger, and the globe sits there and explains out whether you believe it or not. They're doing the work. They're showing you this is the refraction. You can call it a lie if you want, but you're not on. But thank you, appreciate it. We've got oh no, not this guy.
Very next guy, Mick Toon. And Jeran is like, "Oh no, not this guy." So Jeran does this stream for 10 hours. 10 hours? And he has like so many fucking shills show up. And he makes it out like, "Oh, anyone can just join. I have no idea who's going to be up next." So check it out. Let me go through the shills who showed up to this. Zach Hubbard showed up, and the two of them went back and forth. So we all know Zach Hubbard's a shill. Anyone who's followed Gematria Effect sports. So there's Zach, and Zach and Jeran went back and forth. And then he had Whitsit come on. And then he had Joshua, right? Joshua came on. Now, Mick Toon. See? Motherfucker streamed for 10 hours and brought on like all sorts of different shills. I think there might even be a few more. Anyway. Jen No Fear with a super sticker. Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that. I know tonight's stream, I'm not making as many jokes and things are a little more serious, but I got to do these once in a while. So thank you guys for hanging out and thank you for the support and the super stickers. I appreciate that. I got a little bit more to get through and then I can open up the stream for questions or whatever, So I got a few more things to show you. So this fella authentic intent. He admits to graping a 14-year-old, was convicted of it. There he was hanging out on Jeran's stream. And this guy was promoted and backed, and they allowed him to talk at the conferences. So it never bothered any of these flat earth shills, supposed leaders in the flat earth, that they were backing a perv. So I made a video where I took some different clips, put it all together. And another person, IPS, Tim Osman, he made a video exposing this perv, and then I added on to it. So let me go ahead and show you a video called Behind the Perv that I haven't showed in quite a while. All right. Graped 18 when you there are some evil and nefarious things going on when you pull back the curtain of the flat earth cult. This here is Joshua Swift. His channel on YouTube is known as Authentic Intent. He was a speaker at the 2018 Flat Earth International Conference in Denver. This fella right here, Joshua Swift, graped a 14-year-old girl. This fella right here is a convicted grapist. Now, this fella right here gets protection from people like David Weiss, deep inside the rabbit's butthole. He gets protection from people like Bob Nodell from Globebusters. He gets protection from people like Karen B., also a Flat Earth Conference speaker. So you have to ask yourself, why do these Flat Earth leaders accept a convicted grapist with open arms? Not only that, why are they victim shaming the 14-year-old girl that he graped? Now, over 2 years ago, Infinite Plane Society, also known as IPS, did an investigation into some of these scumbag pedos, and I wish I had seen this information 2 years ago. It would have saved me a lot of time and trouble. However, I have seen the information now, and it ties directly into my investigation, and it proved exactly what my suspicions were the whole time. So, when you hear IPS's voice, before you tell me he's a shill, IPS agrees with me that Mac Parhar, Flat Earth Fokker, is not dead. IPS agrees with me that Rob Skiba is not dead. IPS agrees with me that the Flat Earth looks to be a cult, and also he agrees with me that there are convicted pedos running amok and being protected by the Flat Earth cult leaders. So when you hear IPS's voice, don't be alarmed. He's actually telling quite a bit of truth in this video. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak.
So Authentic Intent is dealing with what he calls the rumors.
Really what this is about. I want to make sure that all of the rumors that have been going on about, what's been going on with me is cleared up, and that the truth can come out, and then it will squash all of these rumors. So
now by rumors, he actually means facts.
So here, this has been deleted apparently, but it's still out there, I believe. Karen B interviewed Josh and let him tell his story. And he basically comes clean and tells the story how he courted this 14-year-old black girl who supposedly lied about her age. And then after they hooked up, he sent flowers to her house. And then her mother said, "Why the fuck are you sending my 14-year-old daughter flowers?" And then from there, pressed charges, and he was convicted. So Karen B brought him on, let him tell this story. And then they went ahead and let the guy speak at their conferences. They backed him. And you know what else they did? They said that the girl was the one who should be to blame because she lied about her age.
IPS, who is one of the main contributors to spreading these rumors, asks about my probation officer.
I asked about his probation officer, assuming he had one, because he hadn't yet come clean. And I said, does your probation officer know that you're doing activism in front of teens? And that's not a rumor. That's me just asking, if as a sex offender, he's got a parole officer. And I assumed he had one because this particular crime was committed in 2016.
So he's a paperworked offender, and he would go out on the streets and do flat earth activism, where he would talk about the topic with random people. Well, guys, there was a few times he would approach teenage girls and want to talk about flat earth with what appear to be underage girls. And so here's IPS mentioning, hey, I wonder if his probation officer knows about the fact that he's doing flat earth activism with teenagers.
And there's no way that somebody who had done all of that is still on the streets, unless he's got some type of an arrangement. So here's where we see a lot of the victim shaming, and the comments speak volumes, and the people who show up in the comments section, people like Ace McLeod, never trust a female. I guess it's a lesson in life. She's looking for that sweet settlement payoff. So yes, we have Ace McLeod. So we're talking about someone who's intimately connected to Globebusters, definitely behind the perv. Joking, I guess, saying never trust a female, or she was in it for the money. We're talking about a little abused girl here. One Neo says, well, at least it didn't destroy your character. And here's where it starts. Here's where the commenters begin pointing their fingers at the Infinite Plane Society for pointing this out when they're not busy blaming the 14-year-old girl. And to me, this looks like an angry mob, and they're all Christian flat earthers throwing stones. Virginia Dare says, high schools are full of girls who will do anything for anything. Again, this has become almost surreal, but this was a highly curated chat room, and this is the reason why Troll versus Troll re-uploaded it. They re-uploaded it because the original one was so curated, you couldn't see what people actually thought. Ace McLeod offers his helpful advice here. The only way out of stuff these days is an expensive lawyer. Now, I'm bringing this up again just to show you all who's behind this behavior, who's behind authentic intent and these excuses and the scapegoating. And really, this is scapegoating. They're trying to cast the blame on not just the IPS, but on the victim. So Globebusters here says, IPS is a flat earth troll. He thinks he's the guardian of flat earth, and his subscribers are morons. Then down here, and again, this is Globebusters, Bob Nodal says, IPS is a Mason and a dark, dark individual. So again, I'm somehow the topic of this conversation. Jake Linden says, IPS is a satanic witch. This is crazy, right? You guys all understand this is literally insane people. They're in some type of a frenzy. Here's Bob saying, drug dealers intentionally are very much against us. And this is nothing more than shooting the messenger. That's all they're doing, is they're shooting the messenger. Truth Sharing Mirror says, the Infinite Plane Society has insulted me and made threats. Be another one who's bad, guys.
No, never in a million years. Never. Oh, no.
Me. And listen to her response.
Again? No. 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 Never in a million years. Never. Mm-mm. But I monitor my children very closely. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I look at what they're doing and what they're looking at, and I keep a close eye on that stuff because that's my job.
Right, that's what a parent does.
Okay, now here's where he makes this distinction, saying that he's not a pedophile because she wasn't young enough to qualify, which I think is a distinction without a difference.
And they judge by the facts. People in the chat, however, see the facts, and they're mainstream. They just focus on the one thing, pedophile.
Yeah.
And a 14-year-old is not a prepubescent child. So there is a clear distinction between a 14 and 15-year-old that's ovulating and can bear children to a child that is prepubescent.
A 14-year-old is not a prepubescent child. So there is a clear distinction between a 14 and 15-year-old that's ovulating and can bear children to a child that is prepubescent.
Well, there you have it, guys. What a swell fella. Yeah, and Jeran had that guy on his program just a couple months ago. Didn't bother calling him out or anything. Pretended like he didn't know who he was when he knows damn well who this is. Yeah, this guy also showed up over on Nachaquita and Zetetic Warriors stream. They had no problem letting him tell his story again. It's very uncomfortable to sit and listen to Josh tell his story, let me tell you what. And anyone who wants to give him their platform to let him tell his story of what he did to this girl, why? Why would you do that? If Josh came here and wanted to tell you all his story about what he did with that girl, I would be like, no thanks. I'll tell him what you did. I'm not going to give my platform to you so you can downplay what you did to the girl and make it out like it's her fault.
And that's not me. That has never been me. I have never pursued any ideas or any thoughts like that.
Here are a couple of direct quotes regarding this minor. I had messaged Authentic Content directly, and I said, you're blaming the victim. I guess Epstein's innocent too, since his victims went to his home willingly. And I said to Karen B, you're a mother, and you blame society for sexualizing kids, and you blame the girl who was previously abused, which she did. In order to help deflect the blame away from Authentic Content, she brought up how society is sexualizing kids. Authentic responded to me, why are you bringing up Epstein? Stay on topic. And he sent me an article about the sexualization of America, which again, that would not exonerate him. Now, Karen B wrote me a hostile message saying, I never blamed the girl. Don't put words in my mouth. She absolutely did, time and again. Those of you who watch the damage control know. And she said, no one likes you. Which, again, ad hominem, who cares? Authentic Content, cigarettes and... Okay, so this video is pretty damning for a few reasons. Specifically, it's this. You have an hour and a half of victim shaming in the chat and on the video itself between these two as they dialogue back and forth. And it's not even a real interview. He handed her the questions. The lady to Authentic's right, here on the left side of the screen, she's the one who was messaging with me on Facebook. And I said, we will go away and stop making a deal about it when he makes a public confession. So this video was actually a response to me and to what we had said. And then here is Glowbusters in the comments again. Authentic Intent, I just want to say I have an enormous amount of respect for you. And this year, I promise to watch your presentation. Out, Globebusters. Okay, September 21st, Authentic Intent is out on the streets and he's interacting with these 3 minors.
All right, y'all. Things are about to get really real, really fast, and this is really serious. This is not a joke. This is not about clicks or views or money. This is serious. What I'm about to tell you may save your life. Do not, under any circumstances, go out on the streets and do any quote-unquote flat smacking. It is a terrible idea. I've done it and gotten away with it, but times have changed and people like this have absolutely ruined the idea. So do not go out on the streets and start yelling at people and berating people, screaming at people with a bullhorn that the earth is flat. If you do that, the chances of you getting punched, kicked, having your personal property destroyed, it goes up exponentially. Please do not, under any circumstance, do any flat smacking. And if you are, you better damn sure make sure it is not any children who you are flat smacking. And let me show you why.
Authentic Intent is out on the streets and he's interacting with these 3 minors. They're obviously minors. I don't need to check their IDs to know. And I'm looking in the comments, and this commenter, name spelled AOEULHS, who was very much in praise of Authentic and attacking me in their Clearing the Air video, says, cutie on the left. John Garner. In fact, let's look at these accounts since they're all behind the perv. John Garner says, girl on the left, very, very, very pretty. Lone Ranger 777 says, all 3 are cuties. John Garner says, get her number, Josh. Yeah, Josh, a convicted pedophile on parole needs to get the number of a minor. John Garner says, prison stripes, kind of young. Maybe she's telling you something. John Garner says again, very pretty. So let's take a look at who John Garner is. Because we're looking at people who are behind the perv, and these are people behind the perv. So this is John Garner. John Garner was there taking authentic intent side against the victim. Joshua, the other guy, he is a younger.
Go to LAX to go international, most likely. Like I went to Thailand in 2015.
Yeah, he went to Thailand in 2015. So Lone Ranger 777, this guy up here looking
in 2015.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at these. They're like kids, man.
He went to Thailand in 2015. So Lone Ranger 777.
Look at this picture. There's Joshua, and these are kids in Thailand, y'all. Gee, I wonder what he was doing over there in Thailand with them kids. And that's the guy who was supported by Karen B. and Dave Weiss, Robbie Davidson. They all supported this dude. He just showed up on Jeran's program a couple months ago, right? So they still support this guy, basically.
This guy up here licking his computer screen or his camera. You can actually see him licking his camera. He says, yep, they're pretty, and pretty. So these guys are here for eye candy. And many have suggested that Swift is here to flirt.
I had to fly from LAX to Tokyo to Bangkok, Thailand. And let's say that I had enough money, I would have to take a commercial airliner because I don't have my own private jet either. I would have to go here, to here, to here, to here, and then back to the United States. So all you're doing really is just circumnavigating around your neighborhood. It's no different than taking a couple of right turns and then ending up back here. So why would you just...
Again, he's talking to minors. He hasn't disclosed his status. They might be in touch. Look, he could be putting himself in touch with them. Email me later. Lottie says, stay away from those young girls. Finally.
Hypothetical. Why would you want to venture out here? There's no...
But watch what will happen. Most likely, Bob from Glowbusters or Authentic will ban Lottie for saying that.
Best Buys out here. You know, your friends aren't out here. Is your house, like, way out here?
He's asking where they live.
Right. So if there is an edge, regardless, you couldn't come to it anyways. And I'm gonna...
Again, I just turned this on random. This is live right now.
So the one guy who called him out saying those girls look young, they deleted that guy's message. So there were people in the live chat telling Josh to talk to these young girls and egging him on, right? And then the one dude who's like, they look kind of young. Oh, they delete that guy.
And look, Lottie's message was deleted. Lottie said, stop messing with the young girls. He gets deleted. Lone Ranger and Josh Garner get to talk about how much they like the way these young girls look. Josh Garner says, oh, one gave Josh her number? Did I miss something? I mean, come on.
Round, and I went from here like that instead of like that.
So can you tell me where you went?
So I don't remember, but I remember I was like around here, and to get to
the South
Asia, yes.
To Asia, okay.
Asia, I was here, and I went this way, not.
Well, you did this. You just crossed this right here. That's all you did.
No, I went this way.
No, you didn't, though. I know that there's an image on the screen in front of you when you're flying. That's what you're doing. But do cartoons make things real?
So why? So
I'm just asking. Can I hold on? You haven't.
All right. So here you have just another example of authentic intent, so-called activism. Meanwhile, the people looking in the chat are more interested in checking out the girls.
All right. So this is Behind the Perv. This is an hour long, but basically it gets more into the interview between Josh and Karen. So if you guys want to check out this hour-long documentary, I released this on my backup channel. I also have it over on BitChute. This is called Behind the Perv Flat Earth documentary. If you want to check that out. If you go over to the Jake Gibson channel, which is my backup channel, it's easy to find. I haven't posted anything over here in a long time. So if you just scroll back on the list, you can find Jeran wanting to measure my manhood. Jeran admits his wife cheated on him. Here's Behind the Perv right here. So if you want to go back, check those out. And last but not least, I wanted to show Q and Fee's video, some of it, because he has Jeran on camera basically contradicting himself. Jeran's thing now is he says that what the sun does in the sky does tell us what shape the ground is. So I say that whatever happens in the sky, whatever the sun's doing, it doesn't dictate whether or not the ground is curving. But according to Jeran, what the sun does dictate what shape the ground is. And he says that he's never claimed otherwise. But Q and Fee went and dug up an example of Jeran saying exactly that. So we're going to go ahead and check out Q and Fee's latest video, which is a Jeran expose. And then I'll open it up and let you guys, tell me whatever you guys want to tell me about Jeran. If any of you guys have any info that relates to any of this. No, Holden. Jeran never said that he wanted to sleep with me. That was never said. Shady Davy D says, how does it feel to be vindicated? You've been calling him out. Congratulations. Oh, well, I've known I was right all along, and it can be a bit of a pain in the ass to have to line up all these clips and show everyone the dates and really drive it home. But I don't want there to be any shadow of a doubt. I pointed out that these people are no good lying shills, and they've proved it. And so I got to show all the receipts and all the dates in order to really cement the fact that I am one of the true OG content creators that is legit, didn't flip, ain't gonna flip. And it's one of those things it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. And right now you got people doing less than a less than stellar job at policing the flat earth cult community. You got Nachaquifa and Zetetic Princess Warrior, who their shill busting is pretty weak in my opinion. So the real OG captain of the flat earth, the real king dingaling, needed to step off the throne and show y'all how it was done. Put these shills in their place, send these cockroaches scattering, hit the reset button, see what they do. All right. Do I think that the pandemic was manufactured to redirect our attention away from the flat earth awakening because they knew their controlled puppets would mess it up? Not so much. That was one of their first steps in getting us to lock ourselves down, mask ourselves up, see if we would line up and take their special juice. So I think there was a lot of stuff. And so the flat earth thing, it might have been one little piece to the puzzle, but I think there was a lot of other things tied in too. And so, they had to use that as a test run to know what they can get away with in the future next time. So they use that test run to know this next time how far they can push us and from what angles they can attack us and our businesses and our way of life. And that was a scary time. So yes, I believe that the pandemic was manufactured, but I'm not going to pin it squarely on to it redirecting our attention from the flat earth. I'm going to say that there is a combination of a lot of different things. And mainly, the evil elites just wanting to see how much of a power squeeze they really had. They haven't flexed on us like that, in a long time. And so if you look at it, like that was like the first time the NWO like really like flexed on the world at once, you know, actually like messed with my everyday life like quite a bit, you know. So I don't think it was just because of Flat Earth. Kiss Ralphie. Okay. He's been hanging out, being a good boy this whole time, so I'm sure he's ready to go out for a walk. You a good boy. Is you my biggie? Is you my biggie? You be's a biggie. Look at that biggie. My biggie. Oh, look at that. Wow. He's getting so big. He's getting so big. Huh, well. You good boy, Welfs? Good boy. He's a good cow puppy. Look at that puppy. He's taking naps. So I got him to sit, lay down, and I just got him to start rolling over. So now I got 3 different tricks that he's learned. So teach him to roll over, I had to physically roll him over and then congratulate him and give him a treat. And then eventually he just rolled over on his own. That's how you teach a dog to roll over. You physically make them roll over and then congratulate them, give them a treat. And then eventually they just start doing it on their own. So if you want to see Ralphie's latest video, he actually put out some new content. Let's show him a little bit of Ralphie content. Leave him hanging, Ralph. Wanting more Ralphie. So Ralph put out a new video on his channel, Ralphie the Cute Beagle. And so for $7, I got this big hunk, and I knew I could keep Ralphie busy chewing on these for days, and then I could cook them up and make it into like a bone broth for him and all sorts of stuff. So I figured this would be a good deal. But I wanted to see what he would do if I just gave him the whole thing at once. It's frozen. I just wanted to see what he would do. But yeah, I plan on letting it thaw out more, and then I can break it up and then give him like one at a time, let him chew on it, you know. And then when he's done chewing off the meat, then I can cook the bones slowly and make like a beef bone broth and then give him that with some of his food. So looks like he's already getting into some of that meat. Come over here. Sit. Good boy. Lay down. Good boy. And roll over. Roll over. Oh, come on. You can do it. I know you can. Come here. Sit. Lay down. Lay down. Roll over. There it is. Yeah. You can do it. He's a good boy. He's my good boy. And save the rest of this for later. See, so that's how I got him to do it. I would just roll him over until he finally got it. Roll over. Oh, come on. You can do it. I know you can. Come here. Sit. Lay down. Lay down. Roll over. There it is. Yeah. He finally got it. Yay, Ralphie. He gets. Did you roll over? Did you get it? Yeah. So Ralph's doing good. So go subscribe to Ralphie the Cute Beagle if you want to watch Ralph get big and eat bones and roll over and chase balls. You good boy. Oh. Him is my pippy. He's my pippy son. He's my pippy's pippy. There you go, boy. All right. He wants to go out, and I'm tired. I've been on here almost 4 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. I did all the shill busting I need to do tonight, so got that out of my system. So I'm gonna go ahead, shut it down. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight, and I'll catch you guys on the next stream, and I'll try to be more funny, do more lighthearted, upbeat, funny stuff, impressions, funny songs, all that shit. So next stream, I promise, will be a lot more uplifting and fun. Okay? Pinky swear. Until then, let this be a lesson to all you dirty shill bags out there. If you're a liar, a scammer, a no good piece of shit, you better stay out of my way. You better not lie about me and slander me. Because if you do, well, you saw what happened to Jeran. This truth will run you over like a semi. All right. All right, y'all. I'm going. I'm getting off here. Take it easy. See you next time. Peace out. Make sure to hit the thumbs up on your way out.